Absolutely, the stuff of fairy tales. I should say that we're joined by Sir Michael Ellis, the former Attorney General, constitutional expert. Michael, what is significant about this coach in particular?
Well, actually, this Irish state coach, built in 1853, by 1861 it belonged to Queen Victoria, and it was her favourite coach. Prince Albert enjoyed it, and she loved it after that, because anything associated with a favourite of Prince Albert's was a favourite of Queen Victoria's. It's really one of the most important coaches. It's got embellishments all over it of the different parts of the United Kingdom, you know, the emblems of the UK. But what's actually quite extraordinary is that I don't think we've seen a president of the United States in any type of horse-drawn vehicle for many decades. Certainly since 1963, when John F. Kennedy was assassinated in an open-top vehicle in Dallas, they've been very reluctant to do this sort of thing on previous state visits. This isn't just Trump, this goes back decades. So what we're seeing here is a unique set of circumstances. The Irish state coach, just the King and President Trump there. But I think behind them, actually, you'll see the Scottish state coach, where the Queen and Melania, the First Lady, will be travelling separately in the Scottish. And here it comes now, the Scottish state coach. That actually was a little bit older. That was built in the 1830s, 1830, 1831. And that was later sold, actually, to a member of the public, who then sold it back to the royal family in the 1920s. So they did quite well out of it. But I say a member of the public, but actually it was the Earl of Albemarle, so, but a non-royal, let's put it that way. But these carriages are works of art. You can see there the intricacy, the beauty of that. I think it's something that President Trump really wanted to do, and the only reason they're able to do it is because these grounds are all within Windsor Great Park. It's been sealed off. The only people lining this route will be the military. You know, we saw those helicopters land, and it reminded me of, because they're very heavy. Nana was talking about the amazing security around the helicopters. It reminds me of a story from 2019. I don't know whether it's true or not. The late Queen apparently said that it ruined her lawn at Buckingham Palace because they're so heavy, and also the downblast, the heat of the engines from the downblast just, you know, burns all the grass off. But it doesn't sound like something the late Queen would have said, I must say. But who knows whether that was true or not. But here we now have the household cavalry. Those are lifeguards protecting. And they genuinely see their role, by the way. We see them as ceremonial, but they are actually bodyguards to the sovereign, and they would act as such if necessary.
Family, welcome back to Royal Sussex Squad, where we speak truth, shine light on the hypocrisy of the royal machinery, and uplift Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Before we dive into today's discussion, make sure you hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and if you enjoy the work we do here, don't forget you can show love and support through Super Thanks. Now let's get into it. So today, we're talking about the spectacle unfolding at Windsor Castle. A royal carriage procession featuring King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William, Princess Kate, and none other than Donald Trump, the former President of the United States. Yes, you heard that right. Trump and Charles side by side, being paraded in carriages lined by armed forces, wrapped up in pomp and ceremony. The Irish state coach carrying Trump and King Charles, while Queen Camilla rides with the First Lady in the Scottish state coach. The anthems of both nations were played, and the British media was out there making sure every second was broadcast, analysed and repackaged as some historic moment. But let's be clear. This is exactly the kind of performance that the royal establishment thrives on. They dress it up in pageantry and tradition, but at its core, it's a carefully orchestrated PR exercise. And when we see King Charles and Trump inspecting the guard together, with commentary about whether Trump was walking too far ahead, too far behind, or whether a deliberate point was being made about leaving gaps during the inspection. This is the same press that never misses a chance to attack Harry and Meghan for simply holding hands or showing affection. See, when Trump fumbled during his last visit with the late Queen, walking ahead of her in a breach of protocol, the media tried to laugh it off as clumsy. But when Meghan curtsied too low, or too informally, the same media turned it into a national scandal. When Trump disrespected the Queen's space, it was shrugged off. But when Meghan held her husband's hand during a formal engagement, it was painted as breaking royal tradition. The hypocrisy is staggering, and it tells you everything you need to know about how these narratives are constructed. Let's not forget, the media doesn't actually care about tradition. They care about who they can police and control. Donald Trump can stumble all over Windsor Castle and they'll cover it with soft laughter, calling it quirky or bold. Meghan can step 1 inch outside the invisible box of expectation, and suddenly she's accused of destroying the monarchy. That double standard is why the Sussexes had no choice but to walk away. Now let's talk about this Windsor carriage parade. King Charles and Donald Trump sitting together in the Irish state coach, riding through cheering crowds and lined-up military personnel. This is not about diplomacy. This is about optics. It's about Charles, who knows his monarchy is under increasing pressure, especially after years of scandals, unpopularity and the glaring absence of the Sussex star power. So what does he do? He aligns himself with a political figure who thrives on controversy, who knows how to command media attention, Donald Trump. But here's the thing. Harry and Meghan don't need carriages. They don't need palace walls. They don't need military parades to validate their worth. Their work speaks for itself. When Harry shows up for Invictus Games, when Meghan launches a successful lifestyle brand, when they sit down with world leaders on equal footing, they're showing that impact doesn't come from tiaras or trumpets. It comes from integrity, compassion and vision. Meanwhile, the palace is still stuck in the old playbook. Roll out the gold carriages, line the streets with soldiers, play the anthems and hope the people forget the scandals, the hypocrisy and the empty gestures. The fact that they're trying to use Trump as a prop for legitimacy tells you how desperate the monarchy has become. Because let's be honest, no amount of carriages or guard inspections can erase the truth that Harry and Meghan are the future. Now, think about the coverage. GB News, Daily Mail, Telegraph. All of them analysing whether Trump was allowed to go first, whether Charles deliberately left a gap. This microscopic dissection is used to make Trump look like a statesman. But when Harry tried to protect Meghan from relentless media abuse, when he tried to shield his family, they spun it as weakness. When Meghan and Harry stepped out into the world with authenticity, the tabloids screamed that they were breaking protocol or attention-seeking. Yet here we have Trump literally overshadowing a monarch during an inspection, and the media calls it a bold move. Family, let's not forget, Harry was stripped of security, denied protection for his wife and children, and smeared endlessly. Yet here we have the full machinery of the British state bending over backwards to accommodate a man who mocked military veterans, who disrespected women, who openly criticised allies. And they're doing it with smiles and carriages. That's the double standard. That's the hypocrisy. And that's why Harry and Meghan were right to leave that system behind. Now, some folks will say, but look, this shows King Charles is playing the diplomatic game. This shows strength. No. What it shows is the monarchy still clinging to outdated symbols while losing relevance. The world isn't impressed by horse-drawn carriages anymore. The world is impressed by real leadership, the kind Harry and Meghan have shown time and again. The kind of leadership that steps into communities, sits with mothers of veterans, highlights causes that matter, not riding in a coach with a polarising politician. And let's bring it back to the Sussexes. Imagine for a moment if Harry and Meghan had chosen to attend an event with Trump. Imagine the headlines: Sussexes cozy up to Trump for PR stunt. Harry and Meghan politicise the monarchy. Meghan Markle's desperate bid for attention. You know, that's exactly how the British press would spin it, but when Charles and Camilla do it, suddenly it's about statecraft, building bridges, and historic tradition. That's the hypocrisy we're talking about. Harry and Meghan are free of that charade. They don't need to perform for cameras in Windsor. Their work speaks volumes. Harry with Invictus, with Centobala, with mental health advocacy. Meghan with her philanthropy, with, as ever, with her commitment to women's empowerment. That's why the world respects them, because their impact isn't choreographed for PR. It's authentic. So, yes, let the carriages roll. Let Trump walk too fast or too slow. Let the press analyse gaps and guard inspections. At the end of the day, the real story is this. The monarchy is still trapped in its own performance, while Harry and Meghan are writing a new chapter of authenticity, purpose and global relevance. And family, that's why we're here, to cut through the noise, to expose the hypocrisy and to uplift the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Watch. Donald Trump joins King Charles for royal carriage procession in Windsor. The President of the US, the First Lady King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William and Princess Kate are participating in a carriage procession through the Windsor estate, escorted by the Household Cavalry Mounted Regiment. The route is lined by armed forces personnel from the walled garden to George IV Gate, and as the procession took off, the US and British national anthems were played. King Charles and Donald Trump are travelling in the Irish state coach. The First Lady of the United States has been joined by Queen Camilla in the Scottish state coach. Watch the moment President Donald Trump and King Charles inspect the guard together on the Windsor Castle grounds. According to GB News' royal correspondent Cameron Walker, the pair are making a deliberate point by allowing President Trump to go first and leaving a large gap. This is an apparent response to criticism the President received during his last state visit, where he carried out the guard inspection a step ahead of the late Queen. Before I close out, I want to remind you, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join this community where truth and fairness matter. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing from you. And if you'd like to support the channel and help keep this work going, you can do so through Super Thanks. Every bit helps and is deeply appreciated. Until next time, family. Stay strong, stay positive, and keep standing with Harry and Meghan. Royal Sussex Squad signing out.